Well, welcome once again to the 17th annual Transforming the Teaching and Learning Environment virtual conference. I'm Bob Ailes. You're stuck with me as the moderator. We are so fortunate to have with us again that Dr. Indira Garros. She serves as an instructional designer at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and you volunteer as a media specialist at the local Northern 501c. And 5 years in education has been dedicated to enhancing virtual learning through simple and innovative strategies. And she just a year ago earned her PhD in instructional design and technology. So prepare to be amazed. And dear, it's all you.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. I greatly appreciate your generous introduction and welcome everybody. I do have the chat pod pulled up here, so hopefully feel empowered to jump in at any time or jump in on mic if you so choose. But it is wonderful to be back here again this year. Huge shout out and a huge thank you to RCTLE, part of our Division of Academic Innovation at Embry-Riddle. So they are sponsoring, and I'm also excited. I have some great colleagues that are going to be talking next week. So be sure to come back, guys. But if you are at Embry-Riddle, you know that everything revolves around pretty well Ernie. So I created a little Ernie bot here, AI generated in Lederhosen, because if we're climbing a mountain, I mean, we gotta have Lederhosen on, right? So Ernie's got a question for us to get started here of what is the tallest mountain you've climbed? And this can be figuratively or it can be physical. And then as you're adding that in, I am also curious who is with us today. Are you an instructional designer like me? Are you in the higher ed sphere? Are you K-12? I do come from the world of K-12, balancing both. Bob, I don't even know if I'm not even going to attempt to say that mountain range if you want to share what it is.
Okay,
Excellent.
Aconcagua is one of the seven summits, and it's in Argentina near the border of Chile, and it's the tallest mountain outside Asia. But you don't need any mountaineering skills, so that's why I would have. I know I would have summited it, but I caught a virus, and I barely made it to 16,000.
Oh my
But
gosh.
still, I
Well,
had a great time.
yes, that is super, super impressive and welcome everyone else. I'm seeing we are truly across the country here. That is fantastic. And so certainly what this our journey today, our journey with Ernie, is going to be focusing on a little bit for everybody. So, really, whatever field you're in, and whether you're thinking about this from a innovator's perspective, or you're thinking about it from a training perspective, or even a student perspective, um, you hopefully we'll have something here. And don't worry, I know that, we can kind of drain our energy at the end of the week. And so I promise this will be kind of a lower, more passive interaction. If you joined me last year, they had a lot of bells and whistles. We'll put you through that on a Friday afternoon. And so you can hang up your climbing gear as we're going into this. So my largest mountain for me is a figurative one. It was going through and earning my PhD in instructional design technology. And so last year, at this time, I was sifting through all that data for my dissertation. And I ended up doing a qualitative study on combating cognitive disengagement on the virtual frontier. So, but if you do training or teaching in person or hybrid, this will work out too, because we are talking about actually a theme that kept coming up. It was an outlier for me, and that is the benefits of brain breaks. So we're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it simple. And hopefully by the end, you felt that this was real simple. We are going to take a look at discussing the culprit. Why is it that, what is stealing our energy or preventing us from reaching that peak performance? We are going to look at our solution with an acronym of a fast break and hit reset on our brain. And then we are going to unlock that peak performance and really we are thriving in 25. I can't take credit for that one. I had heard that and something. So I love that hashtag thrive in 25 this year. So like I said, promising low stakes here. This is probably one of, I think, three questions I have for you. But, and feel free to jump on mic if you want to share out. But I want you to think about and describe a time when your actions did not match your thoughts. So, an example for me, I don't know if anybody has ever been, typing. I'll have music on as I'm building a course, a Canvas course, and all of a sudden the lyrics are, working their way into this course. And, you know, I'm sure, Little Rascal Flatts in there never hurt anybody, but probably does not have to do a whole lot with computer science. Yes, Carolyn department meetings. Yes, all of a sudden we're trailing off. We're thinking about something else. That's good. Typed at work the way someone was saying it as opposed to how it's spelled out. Yes. Typing, let me know. Please let me know. Yes, having to modify your reflexes that it's just that natural. You kind of almost you go into that auto mode. Just keep going. Kelsey, yes, that when we're reading and then all of a sudden you're thinking about your to-do list and that was actually another theme brought up by my participants that eye glazing where I'll be reading and I'll get to the end of that paragraph and think, what the Heckenheimer did I just read? Yes, nodding and what we're doing. Also, sometimes it can feel, if for those of us that work on a computer, I love a good tab, and then all of a sudden I have 20 tabs pulled up across my monitors, and every time we're switching back and forth, that has a impact and can start taking that focus away from us. So here were some of the other quotes of when our brain does go rogue that the participants had found that, it's wanting to do something else. It's wanting to, you know, it's over here and it's not focusing in on the task at hand. Yeah. Yes, the overcommitted. And so then we're working, we'll talk about one of our strategies we'll focus in on organizing. So unless you are like the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz, everyone, if you have a brain, you've probably experienced this rogue brain phenomenon or this overload in at least the last month or year. So I was in a meeting yesterday, and our associate dean actually made a comment that January was the longest year. And of course, everyone had a good laugh. And yes, 2025 can feel like that sometimes. And but that is an example of our brain doing its own thing. So, bum bum bum, that is our culprit. Cognitive overload is the stealer of our productivity. So it is preventing Ernie from making that climb to peak performance. So I don't want to get into this in too much detail because I definitely can nerd out and get into the weeds on it. But kind of how our cognitive overload, what that means is it is impacting or exceeding our processing power. So if do I have anybody that loved water balloon fights as a kid? Like that was like one of my favorite things was filling up, and I was the kid that liked to make the ammunition rather than, throw and get hit because, I couldn't hit a broadside of a barn. But that process of filling up the balloon as it's stretching, as that water's going in, and then our cognitive overload would be like that balloon bursts. It has popped. And so part of that reason is as we're learning or as we're working, our short term memory, our focus is limited to a certain amount that we can take. We're taking in stimuli, right, from not only our environment, but also using that brain power, that energy for our task at hand. And so, really, our goal is to offload some of this information and um, automate. So, building that into our long term memory, which would be kind of like, a external hard drive on a computer. So, then as we're doing it next time, it feels easier. So, there are several different influences there. I've listed a couple on there. So, um, like going back to that balloon filling analogy, once that you fill up a balloon once, it stretches out, right? It's got that elasticity. And so then when you're going back and relearning a subject or going through and doing a task again, it gets easier, right? It stretches faster or more readily. But for our focus here, a example I have is that, each person is at a different level when it comes to hitting this cognitive overload. And, you know, engagement or liking a topic makes a big difference. For example, Bob had mentioned I'm part of a volunteer group called Gardening for Change, and they had a educational day where we got to plant some seeds and learn about, best practices in gardening. And I went with my wonderful mother-in-law, and she has a green thumb, but she does not is not interested in, learning about what causes a seed to grow or what are those best strategies. I'm over here taking 6 pages of notes and something like that. But then on the flip side, if we're talking shopping, she is a pro. She could talk for hours on that, and I'm overwhelmed. Kind of like if you're ever going into those stores with all the bright lights and deer in the headlights, I am turning my brain off. So we're all different as we're hitting that cognitive overload level. So I won't spend a ton of time. I just wanted to bring this up. This was my culmination of my research contributing to some of the greats, the theories of Sweller's cognitive load theory and Richard Mayer's cognitive theory of multimedia learning. So there are a lot of factors that build up to that culprit that steals our production or productivity of cognitive load. So some of these factors, emotions, right? Or again, that feeling of being overwhelmed or oh my gosh, I have so much to do and how do I get through all of this? So, spoiler alert, this is actually going to be the F in our fast break that we want to focus on the fatigue. So, if we're understanding the why, then our micro breaks will actually, we can tailor them and we really can make them more effective. All right. Here's another question for you guys. So, what is that moment where you're hitting that wall and you are just over it, where, your brain's feeling like this, like too much cognitive overload? What is this moment for you? Yes, Lucy, that in a department meeting and they were going from topic to topic to topic, and sometimes those transitions can get, oh my gosh, where are we? What are we doing? Yes, repetitive or mundane work where we're kind of, Carolyn, yes, the data entry, the and Nicole talking about too many spreadsheets or those tabs. Yes, where, like I said, I'll be clicking back and forth. I have, so many different activities that, or projects open, and whew, it starts to get to be too much. We're trying to, as one of my participants shared out, it's like fitting a full-size pizza in a small box. So what do we do? How do we combat this? So our solution today, we're going to take a fast break. So I don't know if anybody, I was going to say take five, and then I found out that was trademarked by the Hershey's company. And besides the fact I like Reese's a whole lot better. So I'm going to interrupt myself and pause. And I'm curious who is on team fast break and who is on team take five? Which candy bar do we like better?
Is Fast Break an actual candy bar?
It is. I should have
I am
added
like so
pictures.
out of the candy bar realm, apparently.
Oh, Anna says 100 grand. Boom. If we had 100 grand, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have to be worrying about taking breaks at work because I'd have a part-time gig. Twix. Ooh, Carolyn, left Twix or right Twix? M&M's. Yes, Bambi. Do you have a specific kind of, like, the pretzel M&Ms, the traditional? Yes. I appreciate that with the peanuts. Same thing with hence me going towards the take or the fast break. So part of the other reason I didn't want to use take five is because I didn't want to limit us by that thinking that it has to be a certain time frame. Yes, 100%. Oh, you gotta, if you're eating gummy bears or the sour kids or anything like that, or Skittles, yes, we gotta color coordinate. Absolutely. I think that's a must. I think that's written someplace. So the yeah, I wish if we were in person, I'd hand out candy here, Bob. We can't talk about candy without passing it out. So the great news, and hopefully the use of this acronym will help you when you're hitting that wall. You're in that department meeting or you're doing that mundane task, and then we're like, all right, I need to pause and refocus. So we are going to use or take a fast break. So we kind of did this already, that we know we're identifying, all right, we're changing topics too much in a department meeting. How do we pause and, maybe we need to ask that question of, hey, what topic are we in? Or take a moment to pull up that agenda again and feel where we're at. We are going to activate a reset. So we're going to tailor our micro break or brain break and, step away from our mundane activity. And we'll go through some of these examples next because that's the bread and butter of our presentation today. And then really we want to be intentional. We're going to step away smartly. We want to change that environment. We want to disrupt the stimuli, the mundane stimuli that are coming at us or consistent, and really kind of let our brain decompress, kind of release some of that water out of that balloon. And then finally, it's really important to tune back in. So we're giving ourselves a good, you know, signal of where we left off, a cue, so we know, we're coming back with our fresh eyes and we are ready to go. So lots of different options for our fast break. So again, if we're thinking if this is, a meeting that we are in, or hopefully I'm not sounding like Ben Stein or, the Peanuts parents. Wah, 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 wah. So, but if that were the case, I would encourage us, maybe we can't get up and stretch or, but even just the power of closing our eyes and disconnecting or looking away from something. Um, one of my main, as I kind of shared with, I think Nicole, you said of having too many sheets open or those tabs open. um, I will pause and I'll focus in on what is it that I am doing, and I will start closing all those other tabs. Or sometimes I just close them all out and I start over, as long as, your stuff is saved and that kind of thing. Um, these breaks can also have, oh my gosh, 5 apps open. Yes, Bob, and 28 tabs. So similarly, if we think, on your phone, how you have all those apps and then you have to go through and you close them, what happens to your battery if you have all those open? It starts depleting faster, right? Yes, it's draining it. And oh my gosh, I love that, Nicole. Yeah, sometimes your brain has too many tabs open. I think that is the quote for the session here. That's awesome. I love that. So, for those of us, especially since we're talking virtual, if we're looking at a computer screen or something, I highly encourage you to just, whatever it is that you're doing, that you're pulling your eyes away from the screen. I love these little like devotional calendars. Like mine's a Joyce Meyer. They have one simple encouraging message on that, and you know, I use that for my brain break in the middle of what I'm doing because I have to get up out of my chair. I have to walk over and I have to flip that page and then get to focus in on something that's not a computer screen, and then come back into it. So, whether you're also doing something like building a training or if you are teaching, any sort of kinesthetic breaks are fantastic. Um, Anybody want to hazard a guess at why I would have tacos in the background? Love it. Yes, taco break. Yeah. So they are delicious. If anybody's familiar with the song It's Raining Tacos, that was a fantastic thing for dance party break that one of my participants brought up, being a wonderful middle schooler, that sometimes you just need to get the wiggles out, and that help to refocus and re-engage with work. The hand cubes that are on the screen, another strategy that I've done in now let me think about this. Point to the thumb, point to the thumb. There we go. See, my brain is rusty there. But little stuff like that, you can interrupt a training, you can interrupt a teaching session just to focus, because if our brain starts going in the same mundane, it kind of snaps it back, it wakes it up, it pushes some of that water out. So I'm curious, what are your go-to brain breaks? Excellent, Lynn. Yes, taking a short walk around the hallway. Yes. Ooh, audiobooks. What books are we listening to? Lucy, love that. Yes, hot tea and then listening. Oh, that we get the reward. It's whistling. Wonderful. Ooh, great recommendation. Thank you, Carolyn. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, hopefully we're holding on to that to add to your toolbox. These are fantastic ideas. Yes, Megan, meditating, zoning, intentionally zoning out, or really kind of focusing in on our feelings of or our senses, excuse me. Just before we got started here, Bob had brought up a really cool, like, example of, you know, the daydreaming on the beach, or, you think of a place that you've been that was just such a cool experience, right? I know some people really like snow, so maybe it's that feeling of, you're getting ready to go down the ski hill, or maybe it's floating, on your flamingo floaty in the pool, whatever it is, but you know, closing those eyes and taking a couple of moments just to really put yourself back into that moment can really drop your threshold and help you to refocus in. So that is some ways that we can thrive in 25. I know for Embry Riddle right now we are doing a wellness challenge for the month of February. So my big thing is grabbing that water bottle, or then same deal if you're sitting at work, maybe you can move to a standing desk or move that laptop, or even if you were in the classroom or in a training, maybe you change it up when you're coming back. Maybe we're sitting on, at the back of the training, or maybe you're joining people at a table instead. And then for those of us like me that had talked about the too many tabs open. I'm getting overwhelmed with my workload of trying to remember all the things I'm doing, or if you're trying to do that side activity of reading and you keep interrupting yourself with your thoughts. I love to do a brain dump. And so I'm a note taker. I like my old school, again, that kinesthetic writing, but having your to-do lists or updating those to-do lists, especially at the end of the day. So when you come back the next day, you already can hit the ground running. You don't have to, oh, I got to remember that. Oh, I got to remember that. So, Bob, you are way ahead of me with reading something funny that actually is what I'm going to end with, is my favorite strategy, because if you laugh a lot when you get older, you'll have wrinkles in all the right places. So that is, I'm working on my wrinkles right now. And sharing a joke. So I have a Jeff Foxworthy quote for everyone here to end us. I don't know why my brain has kept all the words to Gilligan's Island theme song and has deleted everything about triangles. Yes, improv comedy. And then I guess I'll share one more. And as I was looking for these, I love Jeff Foxworthy. I We might have been the rednecks that, our barn had AC in it before our house. True story, just saying. But he also said he's not against tattoos. If he had one, he would have one right by his watch, and it would say, "My wife's birthday is August 2nd." So awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, for the great interaction and the great participation today. Like I promised, short, sweet, and simple. So hopefully we felt that was real simple. Excellent. Great quote. Thank you so much, Bob. I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you,
Yeah, I
Indira.
actually right above my monitor, I have a quote about change, and it's sort of relevant. At the end of every day, you can ask, is what I did today better or worse than yesterday? If it's worse, figure out what went wrong and how to do better tomorrow. Or if the day was better than yesterday, the same question applies. What was the change that made the positive difference and how it could be repeated, enhanced, or expanded? So sometimes when I'm working on a computer, I get tired and I look at that, a few minutes to kind of ponder it.
I love that, Bob. Especially it's that rejuvenation too of the growth mindset of can pause and restart and reset.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, if you ever decide to create an avatar of yourself, let me know. Then I could take a break and you could, talk for a minute or two.
There we go. Maybe that'll be a next with everything AI
Yeah.
right now, could make a AI bot of yourself. That would be kind of cool. Have a conversation with yourself and then
Oh, yeah.
or encourage yourself and then keep going.
Well, I tell you, I really appreciate doing it again. So for next year, be thinking of another presentation because I'll ask him.
Excellent. Sounds great. And again, huge shout out. Thank you so much, everyone, for jumping in, especially my wonderful Embry Riddle peeps. Really appreciate the support and the participation.